Realtree's Midwest Whitetail is brought to you by Nikon, Ozonics, Redneck Blinds, Rocket Broadheads, RTP Outdoors, Trophy Rock, Spot Hog Releases, Wilderness Athlete, Viking Solutions, and Realtree.
I wanted to take a couple of minutes today to talk about my camera strategy for patterning deer. And I'm sure that over the next couple of episodes we'll get into this a lot as I'm pulling cards from these cameras and we're looking for some of the bucks that we've seen during the summer and maybe some new bucks that have popped up as well. But today I want to touch on where I put the cameras and then some of my methods for checking the cameras and so forth to make sure that I'm not leaving a bunch of scent behind. I like to put my cameras in spots that I can drive either right to or very close to. I don't like to be into the cover very far. I like to be on the fringes, places that the deer are more used to having interaction with humans. If I go back into the cover someplace, I might be able to get a lot of pictures there, but more than likely I'm also going to educate a bunch of deer by going into their security areas. Whereas if I let them come out to the fringes, that seems to work better as far as not putting deer off their patterns. I start with corn. My first maybe 1 or 2 card pulls is with corn. And in Iowa that's legal. Every year I check with the game warden just to make sure that the laws haven't changed so that I understand the interpretation of the law. You want to make sure that however you or wherever you're doing this, that you understand what your laws are pertaining to baiting in front of the camera. It's not legal in every state. It does help a lot because you can get a quicker inventory of the deer. I'm not really pulling deer from all around to this little tiny pile that's only going to be here for about 10 days. But what I'm doing is I'm concentrating the deer that are using this area in front of the camera so I can get a lot quicker inventory and then move on. I've got 10 cameras and I've got probably about 20 locations on this farm where I'm going to run those cameras. So I can't afford to spend a lot of time in one spot. I want to find out what bucks are there and then move on and check some more spots after that. Now, I'm standing here in a pair of these Cabela's waist-high waders, and they look probably a little bit dorky when I'm walking around in the summer in these things, but they serve a really important purpose. They contain my human odor. I came through some grass. A lot of times when I put my cameras out, I'm in the edge of a soybean field or whatever the case may be, a lot of vegetation that would be rubbing against my pants. And that's what the deer smell. They don't really smell where you touch the ground with your boots. They smell what you brush against with your pants when you're going to and from the location. I don't want the deer to know that I've been there. I want this stuff to just show up. I want them to accept it quickly and then I can do my thing. I like to handle everything with gloves. I put a fresh pair of clean gloves on. I do that when I hunt too. I know we've talked about that on the show before, but I can touch the camera with these gloves and I'm not leaving as much scent as if I didn't have the gloves and I was touching the camera. So those are just a couple of the small precautions. Typically you're going to want to run your cameras in maybe about every 20 to 30 acres. So if you've got an 80-acre property that you're hunting, you should probably have 3 or 4 camera locations. On this farm, I just hit the places that are like this, these fringe areas. So there's big parts of the farm that I never get a camera into, which is okay. That's just the way it goes. But just kind of a general rule of thumb, you don't want to try to cover an area much bigger than about 20 acres. What I've learned is that some bucks, as they get older, their home ranges really close down and they may not live in an area much more than 20 acres. So if you start missing some big blocks, you're going to miss some bucks. So I've got the camera turned on. I'm going to come back again and I'm using the Muddy ProCam 12 and I've just got it set for a 30-second delay between pictures. If I wasn't on a corn pile, if I was on a trail or something like that, I'd have the delay period set a lot quicker so that I'd get more, pictures of the deer going past. Here I know they're going to be standing on that corn pile. There'll be does and fawns out there, gnawing away on it. So I don't want 4,000 pictures, in one night of a family group of does and fawns. So every 30 seconds, keep my photos a little bit more sparse and manageable. And then I'm going to come back in 3 days. I'll rebait and then come back in 3 days and I'll pull the camera. So now a week from, this is the next episode of the main show. There's one coming out tomorrow, that's going to be the 11th. So on the 18th, I'll show you some pictures from some of these card pulls. I'm going to try to get all 10 cameras out and have at least one card pull by the time we come back again on the 18th for that episode. We'll get a chance to look at some of the bucks that are here, and hopefully we can find back a couple of these deer that we saw during the summer that are going to be targets for this fall.